I just want to see a good close match. That's all that I'm looking for, and I don't think we're going to be disappointed.
No, and I really think this beginning here, what we find in the chest, if we have any starting spells, our agility and strength at the start are really going to set the stage as to, what we might be seeing tonight. Um, Also, like I said, you did say this is chaos, but the other thing is this isn't short Charlock like we're used to. They're going to have to dive the full Charlock consideration, how early or how late they do. Looks like Stones of Sunlight, Magic Key, Herb, and they start out with the Hurt spell.
So this is a pretty good setup for taking out the noodle monster. Just gotta find out which one it is. And it is not the Magiwyvern with Fire Breath.
And that's DL2 Breath right off the start for gameboyf9.
And it's not the Druin either, but the Druin doesn't seem to be doing too much damage right now.
No, and doesn't look like he looks like his hurt resistance is pretty high, as MisterHomes is unable to land that hurt spell.
Yeah, he got one to hit successfully, and Game Boy finds a slime and 18 experience, so that's looks pretty much pretty noodly to me, but that is not a lot in the XP department.
MisterHomes.
The Knight, however, Game Boy found a good enemy.
Yeah, for 239 XP off the Knight, yeah. Oh, and did I just see Hurtmore and Outside for level 2?
Well, there you go. That opens up a lot of possibilities.
Yeah, like Hurtmore is nice to have, but honestly, that level 2 Outside, I really think is going to make for some really early exploration. And a lot of times you don't see that exploration because, our runners are trying to get the XP, but having that outside advantage at level 2, we might actually see some early exploration into some caves and things like that. So,
yeah, we've got AmazingToaster finding Charlock to the north, doing a little bit more exploration. Didn't find any of those kind of pushover monsters in the start, and it's a metal slime with Hurtmore. That's just insult to injury.
And Game Boy, as he was leaving the king, found out he still needs another 549 XP to level 3, so that's a pretty large margin, than we're used to seeing for Chaos.
Yeah, I would be very tempted just to hang out and see if I could find any more knights. I mean, level 2 gave me some nice stuff to work with, and maybe you could start peeking around. But if you can get some nice stat gains and maybe go from 2 to 9, you never know. It's Chaos, and that might help you out a lot.
And that's the thing, that is Chaos, as AmazingToaster kills his mob, but only gets 6 XP, and I didn't quite see what it was, but definitely not what you're looking for the early game.
Yeah, Game Boy gonna try his luck with a Star Wyvern, lands the Hurtmore and gets 20 experience. So that is the equivalent of the donkey behind the shutter on Let's Make a Deal.
Yeah, exactly. And one good find for Game Boy is that Charlock is just a little north to the of Tantacle Castle. So if they do decide to take some dives, and it's multiple dives, at least it's not going to be a long run for our runners to have to reset out or do the death warp out and make another run.
Tristal finding the Armor Knight, and the AK is just as rude as traditional, and one-shots Tristal.
In fact, I just saw MisterHomes. He's a little over about 200 XP in the lead now, so he actually managed to make it just past Game Boy, who was our first runner to actually hit level 2. And it looks like he's going to hit level 3 off that Knight. And learns Heal More.
Not exactly what you're looking for in the stat department, but getting a healing spell is always nice, and there's some fun.
I believe the stat increases were 2, 3, 7, 8. So not bad for the hit points in the MP, but as far as strength and agility, not really what you want to see. And it's nice, you know, to know that by level 3 you do get some sort of healing spell, but at the cost of 8 MP, and their MP is only like 20 to start, it's not going to be super useful on the early game. I mean, I think they're going to just save their MP and do hurt more and just do the death warp, because it seems to be, you know, the faster route than to have to go in and try to recharge after just a cast or two of heal more.
Yeah, Wraith's not playing too nice for Game Boy, but AmazingToaster takes out a Wraith Knight for over 200 experience, so pretty good enemy to find. And MisterHomes is out of MP, but he's not going to let this this Knight sneak away, and just trying to punch him down one at a time.
Just isn't working.
Oh no, Druin strands AmazingToaster in the swamp, just steps away from a town, just punches and runs.
That was sad for AmazingToaster. Even if he got away, the next step would have killed him, and he just would not have been able to enter the town, because I think he was still 3 spaces from entering. But at least he knows where it is, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see him head back in that direction again. And who knows, you know, going into that town could be a, you know, huge bonus, because, you know, we could find like some dollar store armor or weapons, or, you know, we can find, you know, some extremely overpriced weapons and armor in Chaos.
Wow, Spectres are good too. One hurt more and you get 200 off of it. So there's some pretty rich enemies hanging around the start. And AmazingToaster sees another town, the same town across the shoreline, but Hero can't swim. And Game Boy has just had enough of the swamp right now.
And Game Boy also finds that town that AmazingToaster did, but just not enough hit points to be able to, you know, check it out and show us what it is at this point. But yeah, I agree. It does appear that there's a decent amount of enemies that are able to be taken out with just that hurt more. So it's not, you know, as bad as it was at the start, you know, when all they had was hurt, and a lot of the mobs were just, you know, one-shotting them. So I feel like staying around here, getting the early XP is all right, but like I said, I feel like it shouldn't be too much longer, and we should start to see them maybe branch out a little farther.
Yeah, Game Boy makes it into the town, and it's coal, so gonna find some real nice stuff here.
And he finds dollar full plate.
Well, there you go, dollar store armor. It's exactly $1. And
now let's just see what's at the search spot, because if it's Erdrick's armor, well, I mean, he's only going to be out $1, and it is. Really good find.
Can I have a refund?
Because now he's got a secondary form to heal, plus Erdrick's armor, being the best armor in the game, also allows you to walk over the swamp tiles and things like that without taking any damage. So.
Yeah, now he runs into an Axe Knight with Stop Spell. Meanwhile, MisterHomes has been quietly picking up experience, makes it up to level 6 right now, so there have been some pretty nice stat gains in there. I'm pretty sure 3 to 4 was 17 HP. So there's it's been pretty steady improvement for MisterHomes so far.
I think MisterHomes realized the amount of rich XP mobs that can be found around the castle here, especially with that Hurt More spell, and you know, I think he's just going to take advantage of it. I don't know, like, if he's going to wait till he, you know, gets Repel a couple more levels before he really starts to branch out, but yeah, definitely in the lead for the XP right now.
But yeah, Knights, Spectres, and Wraith Knights seem to be the big highlights of experience so far. Game Boy knocks out this metal slime, but only gets 230 gold from it.
And Warlocks are worth 201, so another really nice XP mob as MisterHomes is about to find a town here.
Yeah, and AmazingToaster has made it into coal as well. And further south, there's Garenham. No keys yet, but they'll show up soon enough.
Wow, both the two best armors being $1 and $2 respectively.
No, that poor merchant. How can he compete? They're throwing out Erdrick's armor for free.
You know, although it's nice to have, you know, good early armor at the beginning, only being able to, for the most part, just punch the mobs with your hands is, you know, posing to be a little bit of a struggle.
Yeah, Game Boy did pick up a copper sword as well, but you know, you'd still love to see something like a hand axe on up before you really start feeling comfortable. He did cobble together enough money to also pick up the large shield, so defensively he's in really good shape.
And honestly, like the copper sword will be good for 10 attack power. I don't foresee him using it all that much. Probably when he's trying to either get back to a town to restore his MP or a castle, and he gets, you know, in a bind, I could see him swinging the sword. But for the most part, you know, being able to do 60 plus damage with the Hurt More spell is going to be a lot more effective for our runners in this early game.
Yeah, and MisterHomes is going to help himself to a large shield now. So it seems like once you can make it to one of the two towns, you'll be pretty well set equipment-wise. So that the equipment advantage that the runners have over each other is going to equalize pretty quickly.
Yeah, because honestly, whether you went south like MisterHomes or got the Erdrick's armor first, there's only a 4 defensive power difference between the two. The big difference is you heal way less with the magic armor, but I believe the magic armor and Erdrick's armor both protect you from those hurt more spells. So.
Yeah, so MisterHomes taking down a couple of wraiths, and they're okay. You're not gonna say no, but definitely not what you're looking for. So, but MisterHomes has opened up a pretty nice experience lead here. AmazingToaster with about 1,700 there, and we'll see what Game Boy has in a minute. Yeah, 1,250. So, yeah, pretty sizable lead for MisterHomes so far. About 1,000 experience over AmazingToaster.
And I'm actually really curious to see how this is going to go because, as you can see already at level 10, MisterHomes has, I believe it's 16 health. So, I mean, he's already, like, in the, you know, area where he needs the hit points. But that 40 strength, though, at level 10, I mean, you know, unless we don't get, you know, any huge gains soon, this could turn into be a Death Necklace seed, or it could be, you know, one of those unfortunate seeds where our runners have to level up to, you know, 20 plus just to get the strength gains they need.
And credit to MisterHomes for, you know, sticking around and looking for those monsters in kind of the starting area too. You never know what the gap between the levels is going to be in chaos mode. And, you know, shooting all the way to 10 this quickly is just making the rest of his exploration that much easier. And he finds a cave. And another town.
Ooh, and it's Hawk's Nest.
And he's got a couple of Hurtmore charges in his back pocket, so definitely worth checking out here. But runs away from the Armor Knight, which is good because we saw how much trouble they gave Tristal. And speaking of Tristal, he's going to pick up his magic armor and large shield as well. So, and the copper sword. So all good on experience. And MisterHomes rolls this droll for 160 experience in a fairy flute.
Finds a fairy flute. Unfortunate, because that's going to leave our runners either searching through all the treasure boxes for that Erdrick's token, or it could be on the coordinate spot. And depending on, the coordinate location, that could be something that our runners just do not want to deal with. And I saw MisterHomes come in here earlier and he went south. I think this might be Swamp North that he found.
Yeah, probably wanted to check out the area a little bit more before he went and dove into Swamp Cave, and paid off finding Hawksness. And that droll is pretty good HP, or excuse me, pretty good experience, and is on a grind tile, so that's something to keep in the back of your mind.
Yeah, for sure, because depending on how our runners, stat-wise are going to need to grind, having a easy, accessible grind spot for, 200 plus XP is going to, be a huge advantage later on.
Wow, broadsword for about a hundo in Breckenary, so for once you're happy to see this town.
Yeah, because now that MisterHomes does have the broadsword, for some of the easier enemies he knows that he can easily take out with 1 or 2 swings, is going to save him that 5 MP on hurt more for one of the more difficult monsters, so not bad, to pick up.
Tristal just steps away from Garenham, makes it back in, so that's gonna save him some time. And Red Dragon packing a punch, but also casting hurt, so not as scary as previously indicated here, and that's going to be another level for Mr.
That looks like 2, 5, 1, and 9. 1's not bad for the hit points. 9 will be good for the MP, but still, now only being up to 42 strength, these strength gains are just not what our runners want to see.
Yeah, and AmazingToaster is doing a great job of keeping pace, also at level 10, and Gameboy not too far behind as well. Tristal also at level 10, so the experience gap is closing a little bit as MisterHomes is doing a bit more exploring than leveling.
Yeah, and I think that's really what the big difference is MisterHomes has been doing a little bit more exploring, but all our runners know that there's huge XP rich mobs right there at the near the castle. So if they're struggling to break away, they know that they can sit there and grind another level or 2 levels just because the mobs are there to be had.
And here's a pretty nice swing for AmazingToaster, finding a lot of there's the flame sword, a little out of reach, but finding Rimaldar with all those keys, and that's going to help a lot.
This is going to be huge for AmazingToaster, because now he's going to be able to check out the treasury. He'll be able to see what's in the basement. Our runners know where Garenham is, so there's 3 chests there and another basement there. So a lot of info that AmazingToaster is about to get.
Yeah, and depending on what's in the treasury, this could be very, very swingy. If that's Erdrick's sword hanging out either in Rimaldar or in the Tantagel, then it's going to be a really nice find.
I mean, if it was me in this situation with AmazingToaster, I would like to see the Silver Harp in Tantagel, and either the Staff of Rain Cave in the basement or right there at Garenham. So you just pick it up and you can do the turning, and that's one quest done and out of the way. And at that point, all he would need would be to find Erdrick's token, whether it still be in a chest or if it's on that coordinate location.
Yeah, a lot of potential information, but he's not going to go back quite yet. There is, a lot of areas still left to explore, and a lot of resources in the tank. The Wyvern responds to a hurt more with a heal more, and amazing. Oh, manages to get away. I was going to say AmazingToaster might be headed back a little sooner. Game Boy is going to find Hawksness. We'll probably throw a hurt more on this Droll and pick up his Fairy Flute.
Yeah, probably the two things you don't like to see when you cast a hurt more is retaliated with a heal more, or you just don't do enough damage and then they turn and run because it's like, well, they went 5 MP.
Yeah, and MisterHomes using the outside trick to zoom back over to the first continent.
Yeah, and it didn't appear that there was much over on that other continent other than Brecconary that I saw.
And MisterHomes with access to the Repel spell. Although there were a lot of experience-rich weak enemies, so this is going to speed up his exploration, but might slow things down on the leveling front. And Game Boy gets rolled by a Droll, but I think that was a conscious decision to head back.
MisterHomes finding the grave, he's only going to have access to these 3 top chests as he's yet to find Remoldar, unless there is a key in one of these top 3 chests. No, but he does find the silver harp, so...
Yeah, not going to complain about finding a progression item, but still, it's 2 chests down there. Gotta be nagging at you.
And I mean, this could actually pay off for MisterHomes, because if there's nothing left in the Grave of Garanham, he's already got the harp out of it, but because he didn't have keys, he didn't check it. Whereas our other runners who find it may check the basement if they have keys, which could, in turn waste them, 5-6 minutes, depending on if they die, and try to redive it a second time. So, honestly, this could pay off for MisterHomes.
MisterHomes finds a silver shield, but it's in the 5K neighborhood, and that's just, you just aren't carrying enough cash with you right now. We'll get some coordinates here. Or not. That's right, no keys.
We do find the jerk.
And now Tristal quietly sneaking up on the experience lead here, and this blue dragon is going to put him over the top.
This looks like Tablet Cave. Oh no, Mountain Cave. MisterHomes finding Mountain Cave, so he'll have access to I believe it's 5 chests in here, 4 on the bottom, and 1 up here on the top.
Yeah, and Tristal hitting level 13 right now gets an 11 bump in strength, so that is a nice amount that you're looking for.
Yeah, because that should put him at around 53 strength, so still not what we like to see, but definitely headed in the right direction. And MisterHomes finding fairy water, herb, and he found the fighter's ring on the top chest. Still has 2 more chests on the bottom here to discover. And AmazingToaster is going to be disappointed as he's going to go through the swamp, and I think all he's going to find over there is Brecconary.
MisterHomes hurt mooring a scorpion for 90 experience, and so far nothing too impressive down here.
The fighter ring.
That's true. You'll never say no to an extra 2 attack power, but and Game Boy is just gonna off to the races on this grind before checking anywhere else. Gonna get way more experience, I think.
I mean, it looks like he's just gonna go through the rest of his MP, which isn't a bad idea. Well, yeah, other than the fighter's ring down there, Mountain Cave pretty much a bust. Did come out with a couple herbs, so.
And poor AmazingToaster getting harassed by mall security there, but they finally let him go. Yeah, Game Boy definitely wants this experience, and right now he is sitting pretty close to the lead. Tristal doing a good job finding out that wizards give 180 and seem to be pushovers to one hurt more as well.
It looks like Game Boy is doing the warp back to Tentacle trick now that he's gone through all his MP. But only 600 XP behind Tristal now for the XP, so.
Yeah, MisterHomes getting close to Silver Shield money. Kind of sneaking up on that 5K. Still has not found the armor, and everybody is still looking for that token. There was gold in that cave, so he absolutely could have went in and opened it a few more times.
Yeah, and did the old ghetto grind, as we call it. It's a shame that honestly there weren't magic keys in that cave, because sometimes if you haven't found Remoldar, finding a chest that's easily accessible like that to grind out a couple keys is really good. But in fact, he's actually going to find Remoldar, which is good for MisterHomes, because once he goes back to Tantagle, he'll be right there near Garingham also, and we'll see which of our runners is going to go check out the treasury in Garingham, now that I think they all have access to keys, except maybe Game Boy.
Yeah, so definitely enough cash to max out on the keys here, and MisterHomes probably realizing, hey, I got to go back to Cantlin anyway. As long as I don't die, I'm probably going to be able to fundraise, the Silver Shield money. So he's going to grab, I believe, his torch, yeah, and then head on back.
And honestly, it's going to be kind of interesting to see. Is he going to go to Cantlin knowing where that is and try to check the coordinates? Or is he going to go check all the chests first to make sure that the, token's not in one of those chests before he tries to dive the coordinates?
Yeah, I think if I was in his shoes, heading back to the castle seems like a pretty nice option.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you, because like I said, we do have the treasury, which I believe holds 5 chests, plus the basement to check, and then just not far from there is Garinham, which is another 3 chests and a basement there. And we still haven't found Tablet Cave, so there'll be an additional chest that could be checked there, which is easily done, especially with the outside spell.
Oof.
MisterHomes taking that.
Yeah, trying to go toe to toe with the Armored Knight, and well, there goes half the goal.
I'm wondering if he was just trying to do the Death Warp, or if he was actually trying to see if he could kill it, because he had MP and I didn't see him try to use any. Looks like we're going to have gold, fairy water. Oh, Erdrick's sword. And the death necklace. So he's going to find the big stick and the death necklace in the treasury, along with some gold and fairy water.
Yeah, a pile of really nice stuff to find here, and top off the keys and let's see what's in the basement.
And it looks like Game Boy's traveling through Swamp North, and he's going to be a bit disappointed when he gets to the other side. As AmazingToaster finally is going to get his Erdrick sword, death necklace, fairy water, and his gold.
And there is Harp Cave in the basement, so lining up pretty well, just like you said.
Yeah, for definitely for Mr. Holmes. Him and Tristal, the only two to find the harp that was in the top of the grave. So definitely a good find for Mr. Holmes after having found the harp. So
Yeah, Tristal just a little bit short on cash for the silver shield. Gonna check the other shop here. And that's good flame sword money though. So cashing in
looks
for
like
that.
But yeah, it's actually kind of ironic how close Cole actually was to Tantigo, and two of our runners still have yet to have yet to see it. So that's kind of interesting to see. Just in these seeds, how divergent some of the routes and stuff can be.
Yeah, and that's just one of the quirks of how you decide to explore the map. I know Mr. Holmes likes to do a perimeter trace, and if he just starts in one direction and goes, there's a lot of map to check out before you finally make it back to the castle.
Yeah, and I mean he's already been finding a ton of stuff, and there's still some stuff over here he hasn't explored. So I mean, he might as well continue because maybe the stuff he's looking for is still on this unexplored stuff that he's yet to see. Although we know that Colin Garanham is actually on the other side.
So go forth and fight. The token's in a chest. And I don't know if we've seen anyone unlock Garanham yet.
I've not seen Garanham unlock, so there's those three chests there, and the only other possibility could be one of the two chests in the bottom of the grave, or it could be in Tablet Cave, which we've yet to see. But I gotta say that I think Tablet Cave is going to be behind Garanham because I think that's the only thing we've yet to see so far.
Tristal one-shotting a golem that's only in chaos, and that's gotta feel good.
Chaos, the only time you'll probably find the fairy flute and have absolutely no need for it.
Game Boy running away from the wizards. They are definitely they're high experience monsters, but doesn't really want to deal with them at all. And I think this is the end of the road for Game Boy. Got to go back.
And it's interesting to see this chaos match compared to others we've seen in the first 5 weeks where the players were racing to gather points. But I think there's only been one or two mobs that we've come across that we've seen DL2 breath. And in fact, some of the past races, there was 6, 7 mobs in the one race that were all around Tanticle Castle with DL2 breath. So you just never know.
Mr. Holmes about to find Cole, and bumps into a knight as well. So it's a pretty profitable trip for Taloon here. And taking a look at the stats here, that is some agility.
Yeah, 97 agility already at level 14, but only 57 strength, and with Erdrick's sword that still gives us less than 100 AP. And I believe our runners are probably going to be wanting to look at around a minimum of 130 before we see any sort of DL attempts, is what I'm going to presume.
Yeah, AmazingToaster now finding out that he's got to go and fight we've got Mr. Holmes exploring the rest of where Cole is, and yeah, nothing to write home about.
The only way I think I see any of our runners actually attempting Dragon Lord with a lower attack power is if they have just an overabundance of MP, in the hopes that, say, the Dragon Lord 2 has like a spell of sleep or heal, something that they can stop spell and, you know, make that lower attack power actually worth something by being able to get, you know, doubles or maybe even some triples in as it's casting, you know. But we'll have to see. Like I said, that'd be a gamble I would like to see, you know, in one of these matches where you know you want to get first or second in order to move ahead.
It's an aggressive play for sure, but it's very risky as well, especially with long Sharlock in this time or in this flag set. The consequences for failing a Dragon Lord dive are pretty big, and anybody that decides to go grind is going to be in much better shape than someone that decides to dive early if they are unsuccessful.
Yeah, considering we do have that one really good trap tile, as we saw Game Boy grind earlier. So, in some casts, Siege, you don't have the luxury of having a good grind spot. So that'll be one advantage that our runners do have on this seed for sure.
Yeah, and right now, Mr. Holmes, the beginning of the game is flipped on its head, and he is now lagging behind in experience. Walks right over those chests, but I don't need those. Surely what I'm looking for is down here. We're not.
Has Mr. Holmes already checked those chests in Garenham the first time, or did he just pass them all together?
I don't know. He may be. He found Cantlin, but did not have any keys for it. So if he's making the assumption that tokens on the overworld, then it makes sense to skip those chests. But he might be paying for that. There are no coordinates this time around.
Oh yeah, and it just seems odd that he had to walk over them anyways. It wouldn't have taken him more than, what, 10 seconds to check those chests? Now, passing up on the tablet one, I mean, yeah, I could see that, but the fact that he walked over those other chests without checking them, I mean, we'll see. We'll see if it pays off for him.
Got Tristal heading the long way into the treasury, and that flame sword is going to get cast aside soon. And we have Mr. Holmes just checking out who's guarding the princess this time around, and it's the skeleton.
And Game Boy gonna get his silver harp here in the grave. We'll see if he dives to the bottom and sees what those other two chests are. AmazingToaster also gonna find his silver harp here in the grave.
So long, Dragon Scale. Tristal turning that harp in for the staff, and the token remains elusive. Where could that be hanging out?
All of our runners appear to be all on level 14 except for Game Boy, who's at level 16. But as far as exploration and items go, I mean, I still feel that this is a fairly close race between all four of our runners at this point.
Yeah, Mr. Holmes has been pretty much everywhere at this point, and Tristal is finally going to pick up his armor, so everything drawing pretty evenly despite all of the diverging paths. And yeah, it's going to come down to efficiency on this token and maybe efficiency on the grind as well.
Yeah, I think the grind's going to take a play an important part, where our runners choose to grind. But if they do choose that Hawk's Nest monster, it did look like he had some resistance to hurt more. So if one of our runners get bad RNG with the resist, it could cost them a lot of XP loss in a grind time versus one of the other runners that might land that hurt more a lot more often. So I mean that could really play in the grinding at the end. So we'll have to see.
All right, AmazingToaster is going to head to the bottom of the grave, and MisterHomes is right behind while Game Boy is digging out Mountain Cave.
Still really interesting how MisterHomes, what made him pass those chests in Garingham and to come dive these two chests instead.
I have to guess that he snuck in there while we weren't looking. And Tristal is gonna crack open Garinham right now, so we'll get a peek at these.
Gold torch and the magic key, and we'll actually see if Tristal's gonna actually do the tablet cave dive here. I mean, he does have outside, so it shouldn't take him more than about 30 seconds to get down there, and then use his outside spell to come right back.
Yeah, got outside, got radiant, so this will be pretty quick to find. AmazingToaster finding a cursed belt.
And if this happens to be token, this will put Tristal in a good spot. Oh, and it is. And we saw MisterHomes pass this up.
Wow, that is well, nope, you're not getting rid of that fairy fluid. It's too important. You got to drop the fairy water instead. But yeah, that's the full set for Tristal. And now all that remains is how comfortable do you feel rolling into that Dragon Lord fight? And I anticipate there's some grinding in Tristal's future.
Yep. And like I said, I mean, I could see MisterHomes passing up Tablet Cave if he didn't have outside. But having outside, I mean, it makes it such a trivial check that I don't feel like you lose too much time making that play. Now, if you didn't have outside, I could see passing it up until you have outside, but
and MisterHomes out of MP, so he's gonna have to take the Death Warp out of here.
But I think that's just one of the things that Chaos does to you. You do make those gambles. He felt that the two chests in the grave, had better odds of having the token, so he dove it and took that gamble. It could have paid off for him, but this time it just didn't. So we'll have to see how much this is going to affect the rest of his routing and grinding now.
So Tristal, the first with the items, the full set of items collected, and we'll see where he heads from here. He's also in pretty good shape experience-wise, only 1,000 experience behind Game Boy. Or actually, that lead opened up quite a bit since I last checked. That's 2,000 experience. Game Boy is just basically murdering everything in his path.
Even still, look at that. Level 17, just barely breaking over that 100 AP mark. So, I mean, our runners could be in for a long night of grinding. And sometimes that's the worst when it comes to Chaos. You find all the items early, and then you spend, 30, 40 minutes of the rest of the Seed, doing just mindless grinding, and that's definitely what you don't want to see in some of these chaos seeds. But that's just how some of them are.
And Game Boy finding a nice patch of desert that is just loaded with one-shottable wizards for 180, so this is looking like a pretty nice grind spot, too.
Yeah, that's right there next to or Cantlin, but it looks like he was just farming up that silver shield money. He's gonna have to go. It looks like he can kill one more, possibly to get that money.
I think he's looking at what can he sell, so might just here, take all this junk. How much will you give? Is he gonna be 5 short after this? No, if he's gonna dump an herb, that gets him there.
And AmazingToaster about to find his Erdrick's token here at the bottom of Tablet Cave.
So AmazingToaster, the second runner here to have the full set of items, and has a silver shield on top of that. Tristal doing a pretty good job of finding nice enemies to kill, just wandering around this mountain range here, and is caught up a little bit to Game Boy. But yeah, even with the Death Necklace on, the strength and the attack power just isn't quite there yet, and there's definitely gonna be a grind involved, and it's just a matter of where people decide to post up and get their levels.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see, the next 2 levels, especially next level, to actually see, what kind of increase we're going to be looking at when Game Boy hits next level, because that'll kind of see roughly how many more levels are we going to have to grind. Are we going to have to grind up to 20 plus? Or are we going to get the next 2 levels some high strength points and hit points in order to pop on the Death Necklace to get that extra 10 AP?
And Tristal gets the rainbow drop and zips all the way back to the castle. Gonna top off the MP, and this might be an exploratory Sharlock dive. And we've got, still Game Boy at level 18 now.
MisterHomes finally goes back, gets his token, and he's probably kicking himself, knowing that about 6 or 7 minutes ago he was already in that location and chose not to check it. And Tristal, the first person to actually go into Sharlock. I'm wondering if he's going to try to do a grind here, maybe try to get some insight as to how bad the Dragon Lord actually is.
Yeah, and this is gonna be kind of a rough grind so far. The Goldman shows up, and he's got a ton of agility, and just a monster designed expressly to waste your time. And Holmes goes right for the droll.
probably feeling behind at this point, considering he had to go back for that Erdix token. So trying to see where the fastest possibility to get the XP, because he already knows where the jerk is. It's just a matter of he needs XP, and he needs XP now.
Next level for Game Boy at 19 now, still not quite there yet. And he's gonna hop into Ramaldar and stock up on keys.
It's quite interesting too for a lot of the viewers and stuff that may be watching Dragon Warrior Randomizer for the first time, or maybe watching a Chaos Eat for the first time. When you're in Charlock, you expect to see those Axe Knights and Blue Dragons and Red Dragons and things like that. But in Chaos, the stronger mobs, as we can see in this case, are the skeletons, or they could be blue slimes and red slimes. So it's quite interesting, to go into Charlock and see some of those encounters you normally wouldn't see in a standard or vanilla. So
Exploratory dive number 1, not a success. So Tristal is going to do some desert wandering while Game Boy picks up level 20.
Ooh,
23 power!
That's a lot of power. And it looked like it was like 11 MP also.
With the Death Necklace, that's 136, but that's... I don't know. That's a lot of MP, too.
Yeah, that's 136, and I want to say that's going to leave him at about... around 115-ish hit points.
Oh, but he had the broadsword, so let's look at his stats now that he puts the Erdrick sword on. Yeah, 157, that looks a whole lot better.
Yeah, he probably won't even need the Death Necklace at that point, but having that 133 MP, it looks good, but depending on what DL1 and or DL2 has in store, you could use a ton of that MP just trying to get past the first Dragon Lord, so...
Yeah, I think with all the MP stacked up, though, and the fact that, you got 150 HP, you're probably going to be getting a lot of doubles with 109 defense power. This looks pretty good. Just got to finish this out.
And, the big thing, too, is going to be, how, maybe not necessarily, how hard DL2 is, Is DL2, going to be, vanilla? Is it going to have heal? Is it going to have sleep? It can roll between 100 and 230 HP, Is it going to be up there in the 200s, or is it going to be, one of the weaker DLs, too, that, have, closer to the 100 HP range?
And right now, just trying to retrace his steps, just a token short of being ready to go. Tristal doing another information dive, and he's about, I would say, 2,000 experience away from being in the right spot here. And trolls have such high agility.
I'm actually curious if Tristal's thinking he's got 124 AP. He's got 137 HP. So with the Death Necklace on, it'll leave him just a little over 100 HP. Put him at 134 AP. He still has a decent amount of magic, so he might, attempt and hope that DL is just super, super paper.
Yeah, Tristal throwing out a... it looked like he was trying very hard to conserve his MP total, and I wonder if he was diving with the hopes of picking up 18 and that being enough to put on a good show. But these monsters in here are they're just rough to get levels from without investing a lot of resources.
And these goldmen just don't want you to run either, so...
Yeah, so we've got two simultaneous dives. MisterHomes is going to give this a shot too, and Game Boy, meanwhile, just a token away and a visit to the jerk from being in a real good spot.
And like I said, I mean, even at this point, I still feel like all of our runners are, pretty equal with the fact that, this is going to be a long Sharlock dive. I mean, are these runners going to be able to do the job, once they get down? Because if they don't and they have to redive, I mean, this Sharlock's dive has taken them probably 7-8 minutes, if not longer, to get down there. So that's a lot of time investment if you have to do the dive, multiple times.
And Tristal just keeps trying to run away from these drolls, so it seems like his MP total is very important to him, and he just wants to, I don't know, maybe get 1 or 2 easy levels on down here. But I don't know, nothing's coming easy in this Sharlock.
Well, like I said, the top 2 runners are going to advance, and the bottom 2 are going to be eliminated. So, I mean, these could just be runners trying to, hope for the best and, hope they don't get a trolley, Dragon Lord, because, I mean, this could, put Tristal in, the first place seat, but it could put him in last if he has to continuously dive and say, Game Boy or one of the other runners gets a couple more levels and is then able to do it.
Yeah, and I think basically their clock right now is running. As soon as Game Boy finds the jerk cave, he's gonna be good to go. And there it is. So, clock starting right now. Game Boy is ready to head into Sharlock.
But I would have to say in almost all the cast seeds that I've run in the past, DL1 has always been the trolliest. If you're going to get a trolley DL1 or 2, it almost always seems like DL1 will give you more problems than DL2. Although I've seen DL2 give our runners some problems, but more often than not, it's always that DL1 that can just be super trolly and just send you, completely back to the castle. And when it's short Sharlock, it's not, that big of a deal. It takes, a couple minutes to run back, but having to dive all these floors and, all these mobs with high agility and they're struggling to run from, I mean, the last thing our runners want to do is have to dive this more than once.
And of note as well, Toaster is closing in on that magic level that's gonna put him right in the driver's seat. But him and Game Boy are the only 2 that have picked up silver shields. So the defense power looks pretty good right now for both of the runners. But this would look a lot better if they had that extra defense for doubles. MisterHomes picking up another level, hits 18 on the way down. Yeah, it looks like he's perfectly happy burning MP. So he might hit the magic level, and if it's a very spell happy DL2, this could be doable for him.
Yeah, and it's gonna like I said, the stop spell resistance on DL2 is like the only thing I believe that can that will be randomized for the resistances. And if they get one of those DL2s that likes to cast sleep or even heal, but has that 15 out of 16 stop spell, well, we could be in for a long night.
Tristal gets smashed for 85 from DL2. Wow! He has to burn a heal more down, so now he's left with 9. Wow!
But lands at first off stop spell. Now we just have to see, did he have sleep or did he have heal? I'm going to say he has heal because we've yet to see a sleep.
Yeah, and I suspect that Tristal might be throwing out Hurtmore's in a bit if he doesn't see any magic casts soon. Yeah, rolling a 6 feels awful.
Yeah, because I mean, even on the low end, he would have to roll a minimum of 10 with 10 heal more, and that's just to reach the minimum hit points that the Dragon Lord could have. He's getting all these minimum rolls because I think at 124 he should be doing what 6 to 12.
Yeah, and he
So that was
decided
a
to
lot.
yeah, he decided to swing on a 43, just not feeling it, and he's going to be the first one of our divers to get dumped back to the castle. So looking pretty good for Game Boy. I didn't see a lot of spells for MisterHomes, so with 40 MP, this is not looking too great either.
No, but at least Tristal has the knowledge, as to what to expect. So he knows he needs to get a couple more levels, to effectively be able to go down there. Especially if he's going to have to burn some heal mores like he did on that previous run, just to even get down there. So.
Yeah, and AmazingToaster is not far off from that level either, and I mean, he might actually hit it just trying to take out one of these monsters on the way down.
And MisterHomes hitting 21 on his dive down there, though he only has 40 MP, so I think that's going to leave him at about 5 heal more.
Yeah, he's definitely going into if he tries the fight, he's definitely gonna, I don't know, might throw out the stop spell and then might throw out some follow up hurt mores.
Eternal Newbie in chat says, I do want to point out Game Boy has been fighting all the way down, his whole way down, and still has yet to hit 22.
Yeah, he's defense breaking the Drolls right now, which is, and able to two-shot them, which is really nice. It's a nice position for him to be in because they have a lot of agility. They're really hard to run away from. And Tristal is just gonna do the Droll grind, and he's not far off from the magic level either. Holmes is out of herbs at this point, and we'll see how spell happy DL1 is for him. Chunks him for 75 and gets a stop spell in return, so he's not going to see that nastiness, but we'll see how much HP the Dragon Lord has right now.
Punching for 22 and 27.
If he's got low HP, this might be doable.
He's already done 74 on 3 hits.
Game Boy on to the next floor right now, and if his luck is anything like MisterHomes, damage roll wise, he's got no problem.
He's up to 123 with 1 heal more left.
He very well could get a sneaky double out of this too. Dragon Lord punching for 45. There it is. That's a double.
He gets a bad roll of 16 there.
Oh, wow. He's got to be close to max HP.
Yeah, because that was 200. It looked like 218, I think. 219 damage, and the most it can roll is 230, so... Wow, definitely feels bad for MisterHomes there.
Yeah.
Considering
Meanwhile,
he got that 16, which was his lowest roll, and he had been averaging, 22, 24, that could have been the deciding factor, that really bad low roll there.
yeah, AmazingToaster is just trying desperately to run away from the skeleton, but I mean, if you just punch the dude, he's so close to the magic level, but he doesn't realize it. I think he's like one monster off.
Game Boy about to enter his fight with the Dragon Lord, and with about 3 times as much MP as MisterHomes had, I feel like this is going to be pretty much a GG for Game Boy, but we'll see.
Yeah, 67 and a stop spell, so no nasty punches from DL1, and then we didn't see any heals thrown out on Mr. Holmes' side, so the stop spell, even though it lands, is not going to accomplish much. But
yeah,
Game Boy in the driver's seat to take first place here.
But even still, I think even if DL2 had heal, with the amount of AP he has and the swings that he's doing, he would probably have an alright chance just to, go through.
Yeah, Toasty hitting 20, and that's not the. So it's just falling ever so closely in between 20 and 21, but it's he may actually get the next bump up after this. Let's see if 38's enough. Yep. So Toaster is looking like he's in the driver's seat for this as well.
Yeah, and he's gonna start out with 11 heal more than his side, so he'll be looking really, really good.
Oh, where's the Dragon Lord? Oh, there he is.
Wow.
Tries to throw sleep in DL1's face, but this is mildly concerning though, because DL1 could punch him out here, but no, he's through to DL2, and it's looking pretty smooth right now. Game Boy still just steadily chipping away at the Dragon Lord here.
Has gone through already half of his MP, so. And that looks like it's going to do it for Game Boy.
So early grinding paying off a little bit for Game Boy. He was the first one to find out that 21 made it pretty easy, and that's going to do.
Yep. Actually was behind for most of the seed when it came to exploration and collecting the items, but held that EXP lead, pretty much throughout. And I really think that's what helped him here in the end, only having to make that Sharlock dive one time, whereas 2 of our runners are on their second or third dive as of right now.
And we're joined by Game Boy right now. GG, Game Boy.
Yeah, GG.
Thrilling finish, it looks like.
Yeah, we had a lot of people, very, very close to one another, and it was just a matter of kind of who put the exploration together and who made it to 21 first. That seems to be the magic level where everyone's finished.
Oh, not amazed, or not amazed. I meant not surprised. AmazingToaster was going to be in the top 2. He had very good chaos runs this year. So, GG AmazingToaster.
Yeah, finishes off the Dragon Lord in pretty smooth fashion, and is going to be done in second place. So get out your GGs for AmazingToaster.
Oh man. And Yeah, this was. I'm actually surprised. I must have been last to get the keys by like a country mile.
You were actually last for the keys and a couple of the quest pieces, but doing that early grind in Hawk's Nest, you held the XP lead for the majority of it, and I think that's what helped you in the end when you had to go and collect it, because two of our runners entered Sherlock at 17 in hopes to go down there, and they ended up diving 2 and 3 times, whereas you only had to make the trip 1 time, which really helped.
Yeah. Oh, I'm seeing in the race chat that he got 219 damage. That Holmes dealt 219 damage. He lost.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, managed to get a bunch of string a bunch of nice rolls together with only 40 MP in the tank, but just I think that was pretty close to a max HP DL.
Yeah, I stopped the spell of the DL, but that didn't seem to matter.
And yeah, it looks like you missed out on the glass cannon that was DL1. He punched Tristal for I think 89 damage.
Wow! Wow!
They were joined by AmazingToaster. GG to you as well.
Yeah, it sounds like I was lucky to get double stop spell.
I think he was pretty happy to cast stop spell for everyone else. So I think it was just a matter of Tristal getting unlucky.
That's the way some of these go, especially in Chaos.
Congratulations, Toaster. You're going to advance to the standard 100% round.
Oh boy.
Wow, 11 agility. My goodness. Every single monster in Sherlock was like solid as a rock.
219 attack on Dragon Lord 1. Wow.
Yeah. Oh, but you could cast her more on it. Not that you needed to, but you could. I kind of was wondering. Oh, 220. Oh, look at that.
No! Wow.
Wow.
And there was that second to last roll that Mr. Holmes got, which was like minimum roll. He got like a 16, and he had been averaging 25 that whole entire fight.
Wow.
Just super unlucky.
1 HP short.
Yeah. Well, of course, you never know. The Dragon Lord could add 100 damage, and Mr. Holmes would have looked like a hero. So,
Yeah, taking a look at the Droll with 222 agility, he was giving people business for a lot of the seed too.
yeah.
I'm glad I had level 21 then. There was a lot of power in those last 2 levels.
Yeah, that level 21, those skeletons stunk too. I pretty much knew that I wasn't running from any of those guys, so except the Armored Knight. Well, you'll have to come back and do the Armored Knight, but I think the Armored Knight didn't have a lot of agility, so I figured I could run from those guys. But everybody else, I was like, yep, got to beat them up.
Yeah, it was funny beating up everybody on the way down. You still were at level 21 when you finished, so who knows where 22.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised. I guess we'll never know. Actually, we will know. How can we find this out? I know how we can find this out. Talk to AmazingToaster for a little bit. I'll tell you in a minute.
All right, sounds good. So, AmazingToaster, you had what did you think about the beginning of the seed, where you had just a lot of monsters with that drop 200 experience points? Did you feel tempted to just grind for a bunch of levels at the start?
Yes and no. It was kind of one of those. I think I found the Axe Knights, and I kind of ground on them for a little bit because they were nice experience and they weren't too hard to kill. And then I went back there when I was going for my end game grind too. So that seemed like a nice enemy to smack around.
Yeah, Knights and Spectres, I think, were two of the early mobs that gave just tremendous XP.
Yeah,
Knights super easy to take out, and Spectres, if you could land hurt more, we're able to take those out in one hit. Both of those yielding over 200 XP.
But yeah, I noticed you had a little trouble finding the knights at first, but it seemed like once after that metal slime gave you the business, you got on a pretty good pace for the rest of the.
well, yeah. The stupid thing was I found, what was it, the wolf really early, and he basically drained all of my MP.
Yeah, just sometimes chaos is just going to be that hunt for the noodle. And oh wow, Tristal dead at level 19. So just run out of resources by this the beefiest of dragon lords.
Yeah.
I went back and talked to the king trying to figure out how far away 20 was, and it was like 345. So I was like, okay, we're gonna get that on the way down.
And we're joined by Tristal right now. GG.
Yeah, GG.
GG. I mean, out of all four of you runners, like we had predicted, although you guys had different routes there at the start, all pretty much ended up coming together towards the end. And I would say you guys all dove Sharlock within a matter of probably 2 to 3 minutes of each other. So really close there at the end, how everybody just kind of came together.
Yeah, I guess.
So chaos being chaos, of course, the next 150 experience points would have bumped you up 23 strength.
Really? Well, yeah, that's chaos for you.
Yeah, level 22 is 14,335, by the way. So we had a while to go for 22.
Fair enough. Was there a good grinding spot? Because I never really found one. I didn't check Swamp Cave, though.
I went north of Cole in that desert there and ground Axe Knights. Axe Knights and Druid Lords were up there. Plus, I think there were some Knights that were showing up there.
Yeah, that would have been really good. I actually didn't find Rimmeldar or Cole until super late. So that kind of hamstrung me for a while. I didn't have keys until really late.
Well, in fact, Crystal, you were actually the first person to use Rainbow Drop and take that initial Sharlock dive out of all of our runs.
Yeah, I figured I had to be behind either on XP or just progression in general to try and take a chance at it, or at least, see if Sharlock is easy or not, and potentially grind on the mid-boss as well. And yeah, none of that was plausible, because Sharlock was super mean.
Yeah, there was a lot of high agility monsters and surprisingly a lot of empty calories too. Like, nobody wants to see a gold man, even in chaos.
Well, yeah, did you see the, 11 times in a row I failed to run away from one? That was...
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
but on the same token, it also cast Stop Spell at me 11 times in a row, too. So,
Yeah.
that was interesting. I honestly wondered at one point, am I seriously in an RNG loop here? Because, it was literally like 9 times in a row, and then I tried to do command to maybe break out of that, and that didn't work either, and I eventually ended up attacking it, taking the 11th Stop Spell, and then running it away.
I officially choose Tristal to win the Final Fantasy Randomizer Spring Tournament.
Oh, well, that's kind of you, I guess. You're just saying all the bad luck I got here, I'm just going to get the positive karma in the other one, I think.
Yeah, that's right. And plus, you're also going to find RNG loops that's going to wind up killing chaos. So yeah,
that's something you can actually try for, I guess. That's kind of nice.
Yeah. But yeah, everybody in Sharlock was just, I'm only dealing 20 damage on 150 attack power. I'm like, okay, I just gotta power my way through there and fight every single time. So that's
just running away from things. Like there had to be at least like 4 different enemies in Sharlock that had unbelievable agility. Druins, Drolls, not Druins, Goldmen. serious trouble running away from. Skeletons were tough for a little bit. Like, there was just so much there that was...
In fact, on Amazing Toaster screen, I actually thought he was gonna not actually come in second, because when he got to his Dragon Lord, the spot where Dragon Lord actually sits was empty. There was no Dragon Lord there, but it still allowed him to talk to an invisible square to initiate the fight.
I was wondering if I would bonk against it, so I walked into it, and then I walked out of it, turned around, and talked to the blank square.
Yeah, Smashy comes up with a good point. I know I'm changing topics on you, but the top 2 of tomorrow's race will face Toaster and I for the in next week. That's tomorrow at 10 o'clock right here on Randomania. But yeah, by the way, weren't we all glad that we started with Hurt?
Oh, definitely.
Well, yeah, except for like the first 5 enemies I encountered had massive hurt resistance, so that didn't really work out.
Yeah, I got a slime, and then I got a knight, and then it was just Magi Wyvern. I'm just like, Magi Wyvern, leave me alone.
Yeah, as soon as they breathed on me once, I was like, okay, I'm running from you every chance I get.
Yeah.
I think Magi Wyvern's the only thing that I noticed right there at Tanticle that you guys all encountered that had DL2 breath, thankfully, but I know in one of the previous cast races, there was, I think, at least 6 mobs by Tanticle Castle with DL2 breath, so it caused a lot of issues. So luckily for you guys, you didn't have that problem. Just those Magi Wyverns, as far as I saw.
Oh, I actually didn't even figure out what the wet noodle was.
I think it was the slime.
Yeah.
Really?
It was definitely the slime. The knight's stats are up on the screen right now. 187 agility, but only 9 HP.
He was given too much experience for him to be the noodle, too.
How much experience did the slime give?
18.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's probably why I was running away from them later on, and I don't always remember if it's because they're not worth fighting or because they're too hard.
I don't think I saw one until it was level 2 or 3, and they just immediately started running.
No, fair enough. I didn't see a blue slime until really late, so it didn't really matter at that point.
It took me a while to finally start fighting wizards, and I'm like, oh crap, they're giving 180, and it's easy to win. Shoot, I better start beating up wizards.
I was looking for gold, so I was running away from them. Oh no, wizards! Wizards were good kills because they gave experience. I was thinking of magicians; those were terrible.
Oh yeah, magicians were awful.
So Game Boy, I noticed that you did a little bit of a grind with the silver shield, even with the agility value being as good as it was for you. Still feel like silver shield is worth picking up.
Yeah, I mean, I still needed to do some grinding, and I just happened to keep winding up at a wizard. I mean, come on, stop giving me 12 money, but yeah, and Firelight observing that I did sell the herb just so I can get that silver shield. But
yeah, we're actually watching you and thought
Catlin.
you were gonna run out of money, and then you sold the herb. Edge was like, "Oh no, he's gonna be 5 gold short," and then we saw you sell the herb.
Yeah.
It was just going to the pawn shop and be like, how much can I get for this stuff? You know, the armful of just random junk.
Yeah, I was just like, yeah, I'm done beating up monsters. I thought 5,700 whatever was going to be enough, and I'm like, where am I going to find 40 money? I could beat up 87 more wizards, or I could, yeah.
Yeah, we noticed you also did an early droll grind as well, just, burning through a couple of, MP totals worth of hurt more to get a leg up on the experience total. Is that something that you look forward to do just to make the exploration easier?
Yeah. That's it. I mean, I'll even do that on standard. I played a seed on my stream yesterday, and it was like, oh, Axe Knight is it was a standard seed. Axe Knight is the boss tile, or the mini boss in Hoxus. Beep, 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 beep. It's obviously going Axe Knight shopping at that point. I must have defeated like 50 X Knights that seed. But anyway, but yeah, I was like, I'm not going anywhere until I get enough strength to beat up the Dragon Lord, or at least get to a point where I could advance.
And Amazing Toaster, you were the other runner who picked up the silver shield, but I think we missed when you picked it up. Did you just happen to pick up enough money fighting monsters for that?
Yeah, I had enough money. I did Mountain Cave, and then I went back to... I forget what exactly I did. I went somewhere else. I might have just gone back into Cantlin to heal up, and then I went and did the grave, and coming out of the grave I had enough money, so I was like, okay, let's do this.
All right, folks, I'm going to go ahead and head on out, but good game to everybody. Thank you all for a great race, and thanks to our CD Improv for the restream, Cyberdog for the tracking, and Edge and Brexis for the commentary. Really appreciate it this evening, and I'll see you all next week.
Yep.
All right, good luck, you two.
Thank you very much. Good game.
GG.
All right, GG to our runners. Thanks again for stopping by for an interview. I think we're about ready to wrap things up here. So any final thoughts on the seed, Brex?
No, I mean, like I said, I mean, we kind of called it at the start how all the runners were going to kind of end up, really close. But GG to MisterHomes, I mean, he did have a couple gambles, that didn't pay off for him. And then getting the Dragon Lord 2 to 1 hit point is just, completely devastating. But, GG to Game Boy and Amazing Toaster. Like I said, I look forward to seeing the race tomorrow and the one next week to see who's going to make it into the finals.
All right, and Tristal, you have any final thoughts on the seed in the?
I mean, the league was actually a lot of fun. Changing up the flags every week did make it a lot more fresh. Exercise a few different muscles every week. So I actually had a lot of fun. I was going into it a little cynical because I thought some of the flag sets were not so great, and I kind of have a dour opinion of Chaos as a tournament format in general. But honestly, it was actually pretty fun. I thought it was set up really well with the placement rounds in rounds 3 and 5. To sort of shake things up a little bit too. So I think everything went really well. I'm happy enough making top 16 here, and definitely no shame in losing in this group of death here. So good luck to Amazing Toaster and Game Boy in the future rounds. Now I get to focus on Final Fantasy Randomizer, which is going to be starting up its tournament in a couple weeks. So that'll be a good time too. So thanks, guys, for commentating, and everybody for tracking and restreaming.
All right, thanks a lot. On behalf of everybody at the Dragon Warrior Randomizer League, thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, please give the runners a follow, and give our hardworking commentators, restreamers, and trackers a follow too. Looks like we're going to be doing a raid for Invenerable, who is currently streaming Final Fantasy 4 Free Enterprise. So stay tuned for some more randomizer action, and thank you for watching, everybody.